When I pulled into the cabin lot, our big family getaway spot, the only sounds I heard were birds and the soft crunch of gravel under my boots. No laughter. No suitcases being dragged. No sound of my wife Emily yelling at the kids for forgetting something. Just silence. Then I saw them. 5 kids, sitting on a wooden bench near the lodge entrance. My nieces and nephews. All of them under 10, looking confused, scared, one of the girls crying. I scanned the parking lot, no cars, no adults. I pulled out my phone and called Emily. Straight to voicemail. Again. Then again. Nothing. That's when I saw it. The email. Subject line. Hawaii time. It was from her. The body of the message burned itself into my brain. Hey babe. Don't freak out. Me and Rachel needed this. You're always saying you want to be useful, so here's your chance. We're going to Hawaii for a week. Take care of the kids. They're already at the cabin. Food's in the cooler. Don't mess this up. Red heart, Emily. I just stood there. The wind felt like it had teeth. Rachel, her sister, also a mother of 3. They left all 5 kids here. No warning. No call. Just dropped them off like I was a babysitter and vanished to a beach vacation. And then red heart? That was the final twist of the knife. I should have called her. Screamed. Cried. But I didn't. I called CPS. Cold? Maybe. But I wasn't about to play daddy to 5 abandoned kids while their mothers sipped cocktails in bikinis. I gave CPS the location, explained everything, and waited with the kids until they arrived. The social worker was shocked. They just left them here? She asked. I just nodded. That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I stared at the ceiling in that cold, empty lodge, the smell of pine and betrayal thick in the air. I replayed everything. Her mood shifts the past few months, the snide comments, the night she worked late and came home smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. I thought she was just stressed, tired, maybe overwhelmed being a mom. But this was something else. This was a woman who didn't just fall out of love. She dug a hole, buried the marriage, and danced on the grave. And I wasn't even sure why. By morning, I'd made a decision. A hard one. I blocked her number. I deleted our shared accounts. I even shut down the cabin security system from my phone. If she wanted to play cold, I could play colder. Then I bought a ticket back home. Alone. But this story doesn't end there. Not even close. 3 days later, I drove to the airport. Not to pick her up, hell no, but to see something for myself. I stood near the arrivals gate. Her flight from Honolulu touched down at 4:23 p.m. She came strolling out with Rachel like they were reality TV stars. Some kissed, laughing, dragging overpriced luggage, wearing matching Aloha *TCGS tank tops. I didn't approach them. Not yet. They stopped when they didn't see anyone waiting. Emily pulled out her phone and dialed. I let it ring. She tried again. Nothing. She finally opened her email. I know the exact moment it happened. Her jaw clenched. Her posture stiffened. Because I sent her just one line back. Called CPS. You abandoned them. I cut contact. You're dead to me. She dropped her phone. Rachel gasped. He did what? Emily just stood there, blinking, like she was trying to load a reality that didn't exist anymore. And in that exact moment, I saw it, the regret. But not for what she did. Only for getting caught. To her, I wasn't a husband. I was a resource. A background character in her little, I deserve this fantasy. And that's when I realized, this wasn't about a vacation. This wasn't a breakdown. It was an affair. The signs had been there for months. Now, they were screaming in my face. The clothes she bought, just for herself. The text she hid. The random gym sessions at 10 p.m. Even that smirk she gave me when she said I was too tired for fun lately. Everything suddenly clicked. She didn't just leave for Hawaii. She escaped to a week-long soul bonding with someone else. Probably some island bartender or personal trainer. Maybe someone she met before the trip. And the worst part? I trusted her. I believed in her. I built a life with her. Now I was left with ashes. But this wasn't over. Next came the discovery. The full truth. And I wasn't about to let that truth stay buried under palm trees and piña coladas. I spent the next 2 days digging. Not because I needed more proof. My gut had already confirmed what my heart refused to accept, but because I wanted to know who he was. The man who made my wife look me in the eye, lie through her perfect teeth, and jet off to paradise while throwing 5 kids in my lap like garbage bags. I checked our shared iCloud. She'd forgotten to log out. Classic Emily, smart when it comes to manipulation, stupid when it comes to details. Within minutes, I had her entire photo roll. At first, it was what you'd expect: beach shots, pool selfies, drinks with umbrellas. But then I saw it. Him. A guy maybe 10 years younger than me. Ripped. Tanned. Wearing one of my old college basketball t-shirts, one she said she threw out because it was too worn. He wasn't in just one picture. He was in all of them. Holding her waist. Kissing her cheek. Whispering in her ear while she smiled like the happiest woman alive. She had a full-on vacation romance, while married, and she brought her damn sister along to babysit the cover story. I sat there for 10 minutes, frozen, while the picture scrolled in front of me. Then I opened her texts. They were worse. Emily. Can't wait for tonight. Hope your room still smells like coconut and sin. Winky face. Him. You're insane. You said your husband's watching the kids. Emily. He's a pushover. He's probably grateful I'm not nagging him. That line. That one. It broke something in me. I had always defended her. Even when my brother said she gave off Hollywood narcissist vibes. Even when my mom said she noticed Emily treated me like an errand boy. Even when my friends stopped inviting us places because she made everything about her. I defended her. I believed love was enough. Loyalty was enough. Turns out, loyalty is just weakness to people like her. She didn't love me. She used me. For money. For comfort. For a safe home while she played fantasy with some gym rats she met online. I kept scrolling, not sure if I wanted to throw up or scream. And then I saw the date stamp on one of the selfies, 3 weeks before the Hawaii trip. Same guy. Same smirk. Same hotel room. She'd been with him for a month, at least. And I hadn't even noticed. Or maybe I had, but I was too scared to call it what it was. Too desperate to believe the person I loved could be that heartless. But she was. She really, truly was. I didn't cry. I wish I had. Instead, I sat there with a sick sort of calm. The kind of calm that only comes before a storm. Not for revenge, not yet. I needed closure first. I called her. She picked up, sounded chipper. Hey, I was about to call you. This connection's been awful, you wouldn't believe. I cut her off. Emily. Who is he? Silence. I heard her breathing shift. Panic. She knew. I saw the photos. The texts. The hotel. Still silence. Then, the worst thing she could have said. It's not what you think. That line. The script every liar reaches for, like a life vest in the ocean of their own garbage. It's not what you think. It exactly is, I said. You ditched 5 kids, flew across the ocean with your sister to shack up with a guy who wears my clothes, and you thought I'd just sit here and nod like an idiot? She finally spoke, and her voice snapped from soft to sharp in an instant. Oh, come on, David. You've been boring for months. You don't touch me. You don't surprise me. You're like a cardboard box with legs. And I needed to feel alive again. That's not a crime. I didn't respond right away. She added, you should thank me. If I didn't leave, you'd still be stuck in that sad little routine, pretending it was enough. I almost laughed. The gaslighting was so polished it deserved an Oscar. Instead, I said, I already thanked you. What's that supposed to mean? I called CPS. Your kids are in protective custody. You're under investigation for abandonment. And when you land, don't come looking for me. We're done. She screamed something I didn't catch. I hung up. I sat there in my living room, staring at the empty spot on the wall where our wedding photo used to hang. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something close to peace. But it wouldn't last. Because when she landed, she didn't disappear. She came looking for me. And she didn't come alone. The knock came at 10:42 p.m. Not a buzz. Not a call. A full-blown knock. Angry. Desperate. The kind that demands attention. I knew it was her before I even got up from the couch. I didn't check the peephole. I didn't need to. I opened the door, and there she was, Emily. Her hair still curled from the beach, makeup smeared like she'd been crying, or maybe just didn't care anymore. Rachel stood behind her, arms crossed, phone in hand like she was already texting some lawyer. Neither of them said a word at first. Then Emily stepped in without asking, brushing past me like she still lived here. I didn't stop her. I just followed. She spun around in the kitchen. Are you insane? She hissed. You called CPS. You called them on your own family. I folded my arms. They're not my kids, Emily. You dumped them on me like trash, disappeared for a week to hook up with your boy toy, and now you're mad I didn't play along. Rachel chimed in from the hallway. You didn't even try to talk to us first. Because there was nothing to talk about, I snapped. You left 5 kids alone at a cabin with no warning. If I didn't show up? What then? Huh? Were they just supposed to figure it out on their own while you two tanned your asses in Maui? Emily slammed her purse down. Don't act like some hero, David. You wanted to ruin us. You've been waiting for this moment. No, I said. I've been waiting for the truth. I just didn't think it would smell like rum and sunscreen. She rolled her eyes. Oh, my God. You're being so dramatic. It was a vacation. People need space. Couples do this all the time. Couples don't fly across the world to grind on strangers while pretending their husbands are dead. Now she looked pissed. Not guilty. Not even embarrassed. Just annoyed. You know what? She said, walking closer, that old venom in her voice. I never thought you'd be this guy. Petty. Vindictive. Calling the cops like some bitter ex. You cheated on me, I said calmly. And you left 5 children to fend for themselves. That's not vindictive. That's me being done. She blinked. I didn't cheat. Don't insult my intelligence. Her face changed then. For a split second, the mask cracked. And beneath it, I saw something raw. Something ugly. Fine, she said quietly. I did. But you made it easy. I looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, I saw who she'd been all along. Not the woman I fell in love with. Not the person I built a life around. Just someone who took, and took, and took. You're not sorry, I said. She shook her head. No. I'm sorry I didn't leave sooner. That's when it happened. Rachel, silent until now, stepped in between us. Okay. Enough. You've both said your piece. Let's figure this out like adults. But I wasn't playing that game anymore. There's nothing to figure out. You've got 5 kids in CPS custody. The state is investigating. You two are on your own. Rachel paled. Wait, I didn't leave my kids. She did. I was just helping. You're both listed. Both responsible. They know everything. Emily's voice cracked. David, please. You can't do this. Not to me. Not to the kids. The kids will be better off with someone who gives a damn, I said. You made your choice. You don't get to cry now. Then I walked over to the door and opened it. Neither of them moved. Out. Rachel left first, stunned. Emily followed, but paused in the doorway. You think this is the end? She whispered. You think you'll be happy now? I didn't flinch. No, but at least I'll be free. She walked into the night, heels clicking on the concrete like fading echoes of a broken promise. I locked the door behind her. That night, I poured myself a drink. Not to celebrate, not even to numb it, but to mark the moment. The moment I stopped being her shadow and started becoming a man again. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. Not because of the bourbon, though that definitely didn't help, but because the silence in the house was louder than any argument we'd ever had. There were no footsteps, no perfume in the air, no half-burnt toast in the sink, just emptiness. I sat on the edge of the bed staring at the spot where she used to sleep. For a second, I reached for my phone. Some part of me still wired to check if she texted, if she maybe apologized, begged, said it was all a mistake. But no, there was nothing. So I did the only thing that made sense. I got in my car and drove. Not to work. Not to a bar. I drove to her gym. I know, sounds crazy. But that guy in the photos, the one with the smug face and my t-shirt, he worked there. I found his name on her phone. Jared, coach. The way she saved it made me want to rip the steering wheel in half. When I walked in, I spotted him right away. Jared. All abs and tattoos and that fake confidence that only comes from sleeping with another man's wife. He didn't recognize me at first. I just stood there, watching him flirt with a client, that same smug smile plastered across his face like nothing in the world could touch him. Until I said his name. Jared. He turned. Yeah? You need a trainer or... I didn't let him finish. I punched him. Right in the mouth. The sound it made, God. I'll never forget it. The crack of knuckles on jawbone. The way his head snapped back. The gym went silent. A couple people screamed. He stumbled, bleeding from the lip, staring at me in pure disbelief. The hell is wrong with you, man? You wore my shirt, I said. He blinked. What? You wore my shirt. While you were screwing my wife. That shirt was mine. I expected him to fight back, maybe throw a punch. But he didn't. He just stood there, dazed. She didn't tell me she was married, he muttered. Bullshasters, T. I swear. She said you were separated. Said you didn't care. Said you hadn't touched her in months. My fist clenched again, but I didn't swing. Because he looked genuinely confused. Stupid, sure. But not a liar. And that's when it really hit me. She played both of us. I turned to leave, but not before dropping one last truth bomb. She used you. Just like she used me. Good luck when she gets bored of you, too. He didn't respond. I walked out. Back home, I packed up everything that reminded me of her. The photos. The stupid live, laugh, love sign she insisted on buying. The wine glasses we got on our honeymoon. I dumped it all in boxes, taped them shut, and left them on the porch. A few hours later, she texted. I saw what you did. You assaulted someone, David. This is who you are now. I didn't reply. Then another. You think this makes you the good guy? You're not. You're bitter and insecure, and that's why I left. Still nothing. Then she called. I let it ring. Over and over. Finally, she left a voicemail. Her voice was shaky. Less venom. More desperation. David, please. I didn't mean for things to get this bad. I just wanted to feel something again. I didn't plan to hurt you. I don't know what's happening to me. I stared at the phone for a long time after that. Her words echoing in my head. I just wanted to feel something. That's the thing. People like her don't want love. They want chaos. Fireworks. Constant motion. And when life gets too steady, too real, they burn it all down just to feel the heat again. I wasn't going to be part of that fire anymore. So I texted her 2 words. Get help. Then I blocked her. Again. And this time, it stayed that way. The next few days were a strange blend of quiet and chaos. The kind of quiet that feels like it's holding its breath before something explodes. The kind of chaos that isn't loud, but lives in your chest, thumping like a second heartbeat that won't shut the hell up. I didn't talk to anyone at first. Not my friends, not my brother, not even my mom. I wasn't ready to hear the I told you so, or worse, the pity. What I did instead was clean. Scrubbed the floors. Tossed out half the furniture. Washed every goddamn bedsheet in the house like it could erase the night she snuck in late, smelling like someone else's cologne. It was stupid, but it helped. Then, on day 4, Rachel showed up. I didn't open the door right away. I just watched her through the peephole, standing there in her heels and tight jeans, holding a brown paper bag like she was delivering cookies instead of guilt. Eventually, I cracked the door open. David, can we talk? I'm not interested in group therapy, Rachel. I came alone. I let her in, but didn't offer a seat. She stood in the kitchen, looking around at the house like it was a crime scene. Maybe it was. I didn't know she was cheating, she started. I raised an eyebrow. I didn't, she insisted. I knew she was spiraling, drinking more, getting bitter. But I didn't know about Jared until we landed in Hawaii. She told me on the second day. And you stayed. Rachel hesitated. She said she was leaving you anyway. Said it was over. I figured. Maybe it was for the best. I couldn't help but laugh. Right. Because ditching 5 kids in the woods to go screw around on an island sounds like a well-thought-out escape plan. She told me you were cold, Rachel said. That you hadn't touched her in months. That she cried herself to sleep. She lied. I know that now. She looked down at the floor, biting her lip like she had more to say. And she did. She's pregnant. The air left my lungs so fast I had to lean against the counter. Say that again. She's pregnant, Rachel repeated, softer. She found out right before the trip. She doesn't know who the father is. My world tilted. I stared at Rachel, trying to find some sign that she was screwing with me, trying to get a rise, trying to break me down one more notch. But her face was pale. Her voice was shaking. She told me to tell you. She couldn't do it herself. Oh, she could, I muttered. She just didn't want to face the look on my face when she did. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even move. I just stood there, frozen in place, as the full weight of her betrayal slammed into me again, harder this time. She might be carrying another man's child, and she wanted me to raise it. Probably spin it into some fairy tale where we made it work, all while hiding the truth under layers of lies and therapy sessions. I wasn't going to be that guy. Rachel left after that. Quietly. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She knew better. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I pulled out the photo album from our wedding. There she was, Emily, glowing in her dress, holding my hand like it meant something. I ripped the photos out one by one. Not in anger. Not in some dramatic, movie-style rage. Just slowly. Methodically. Like removing poison. Then I burned them in the sink. One by one. The flames crackled, curled the edges, turned her smile into ash. And I watched, letting every lie melt away in the fire. It didn't fix anything. But it was a start. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of smoke still lingering in the air. Faint, but enough to remind me what I'd done the night before. The wedding photos, our special day, as she called it every damn anniversary, were nothing but ash now. Funny how something that once felt like the foundation of a life could burn away in 15 minutes with a lighter and a stainless steel sink. I checked my phone, expecting silence. Instead, I had 27 new messages from Emily, all of them sent after midnight. The first few were aggressive. You don't get to ignore me. I'm still your wife. You're acting like a child. Grow up. If you keep blocking me, I'll show up and you won't like it. Then they shifted. I'm scared. The baby might be yours. Please, David. I'm so confused. I didn't reply. Not because I didn't feel anything. I did. I felt too much. I stared at those words for a long time, letting them poison me slowly. She was unraveling. Desperate. And part of me wanted to yell, to accuse, to spit everything I had left into her face. But I didn't. I put the phone down and poured coffee instead. Around noon, I called my lawyer. I didn't ask for advice. I gave instructions. I want the divorce papers sent this week. I don't care about her excuses. We're done. He asked if I was sure. I'm past sure, I said. I'm empty. After that, I drove to the lake. Not for peace, not for clarity, just to feel something real. The wind, the cold water, the silence. Something that didn't lie to me or demand anything. Just nature. Truth in its purest form. I sat on the dock for an hour. No music. No phone. Just thoughts. I thought about the first time I met Emily. At a bar downtown. She spilled a drink on my jeans and laughed like it was the most charming thing in the world. I thought about our honeymoon, how she cried at the airport because she didn't want it to end. I thought about how she used to sleep on my chest and say, "Promise you'll never leave me." I should have realized then how afraid she was of being alone. Not because she loved me, but because she needed someone to lean on, someone to carry the emotional weight while she floated from thrill to thrill, pretending it was love. And now? She was clinging to the last threads of our marriage because it was falling apart in her hands. The moment I stepped back into the house, the doorbell rang. I didn't even have to ask. Emily was standing there. No makeup. Hair a mess. Eyes bloodshot. She looked like she hadn't slept since the night she left for Hawaii. I'm not here to fight, she said, voice cracking. Good. I'm too tired to win again. She gave a weak laugh. Like she thought that line might soften me. It didn't. I don't know what I'm doing, she admitted. Everything's messed up. I've ruined everything. I leaned against the doorframe. Yeah, you have. I don't want it to be like this, she whispered. I want to fix it. There's nothing left to fix. She stepped closer. What if the baby's yours? And what if it's not? Silence. I still love you, she said, barely audible. You love the idea of me, I replied. You love the man who cleaned up after you, who paid the bills, who made you look stable while you tore everything apart behind closed doors. That's not true. It is. And the worst part? I let it happen. I knew. Deep down, I always knew what you were. I just didn't want to believe it. She started to cry. I'm sorry. I know. She reached for my hand. I didn't let her take it. Go home, Emily. I don't have one anymore. That's not my problem. I closed the door. This time, I locked it for good. A few days passed. No more texts. No more calls. Just silence. At first, it felt like standing in the aftermath of a war. Rubble everywhere. Smoke still in the air. But then, something shifted. I started waking up without immediately checking my phone. I stopped replaying conversations in my head. And for the first time in months, I took a breath that didn't feel like it was laced with poison. Then I got the results back from the paternity test. It was a strange envelope. Clinical. Cold. I sat at the table for 20 minutes before I opened it. My hands were steady. That surprised me. I thought I'd be shaking. The baby wasn't mine. I stared at that line on the paper. Read it twice. Then once more. I didn't feel rage. I didn't even feel relief. I just felt done. Completely, entirely done. That was the last thread. The last excuse. The last, maybe. Now there was nothing. Later that day, I drove to her mother's house, the only place I knew Emily might be crashing now. I wasn't there to see her. I was there to drop off a box of her things I'd forgotten about in the garage, an old sweater she loved, some books, a framed picture of her and Rachel on a boat pretending to be human beings. I knocked once and walked away. As I pulled out of the driveway, I saw her through the window. She stood there, holding the box like it was radioactive. She didn't come out. She didn't wave. We just looked at each other through the glass for maybe 5 seconds. And that was it. I didn't stop driving. The divorce papers were filed 2 days later. My lawyer called to say she hadn't contested a single thing. No arguments, no begging, no sudden courtroom drama. Just a signature, a name, an end. She knew she'd lost. And honestly, I think she wanted to. A week went by. I started going out again. Quiet dinners, a drink with an old friend, a walk downtown just to feel part of the world again. I wasn't looking to fill the void she left. I was learning to live without the illusion that she'd ever filled it in the first place. Then, one evening, I got a message from Rachel. Just one line. She's moving to Arizona. Don't know if you care. Just thought you should know. I stared at it for a moment. Then I deleted it. I cared once. Deeply. I gave that woman every piece of myself, even when she didn't deserve it. I stood by her when I should have run. I swallowed every red flag, every half-truth, every gut feeling. But not anymore. Now I sleep through the night. Now I make breakfast without hearing her criticize how I crack eggs. Now I look in the mirror and I don't see a fool. I see a man who got burned and walked out of the fire stronger. Not bitter. Not broken. Just rebuilt. If there's one thing I've learned through all this, it's that love doesn't mean staying when you're being destroyed. It doesn't mean sacrificing your self-respect for the sake of someone who doesn't know what loyalty is. Love is honest. And what we had, that wasn't love. It was dependence dressed up as passion. Control disguised as charm. Lies layered over convenience. But me? I'm not convenient anymore. I'm free. A few months passed. The seasons shifted, and with them, so did I. The air got colder. The leaves burned orange and fell, just like the last pieces of whatever I had left for her. I found a strange peace in the routine. Coffee at 7, gym at 8, work until 6, dinner alone. Quiet, calm, simple. Nobody lied to me in those hours. The funny thing is, people started noticing. Friends who had stopped calling during the Emily era came back. My brother, who once told me she gave him bad energy, invited me over for beer and a game for the first time in years. Even my mother, who'd once begged me not to marry her, sat across from me in her kitchen and said, "I missed you." I realized, for the first time, just how far gone I'd been. It wasn't just the betrayal. It wasn't just the guy in the gym or the vacation or the abandonment. It was the way she chipped at me every day, until I was nothing but a shell of the man I used to be. Until I thought walking on eggshells was normal. Until I believed silence meant peace. It wasn't peace. It was submission. Now, I had real peace. But it came with a cost. Some nights, I still dreamed of her. Not the real Emily, the one who left 5 children like forgotten luggage and called it freedom, but the version I used to see. The girl in the sundress. The woman who kissed me at our front door before work like we were a love story. That version never existed. She was a character I made up. A mask she wore until she got bored. One afternoon, I was cleaning out the attic and found a box labeled US. Photos, movie tickets, letters. I almost tossed it without opening it, but something stopped me. Inside, I found a card she wrote on our first anniversary. She had drawn hearts all over the back, written "Can't wait to grow old with you," and included this line: "You make me feel safe, like I don't have to run anymore." That one sentence hit me hard. Because she did run. From responsibility. From motherhood. From honesty. From me. And I finally understood. People like Emily don't want safety. They want escape. And when they run, they make it your fault for not keeping up. I burned that box. No anger this time. Just closure. A week later, I bumped into Jared at the gas station. He looked tired. Worn. Like the affair didn't quite lead to the tropical fairy tale he imagined. He avoided eye contact. Tried to walk past. But I stopped him. "Still wearing my shirt?" I said. He cracked a smile. "Nah, man." I threw it out. Figured it was cursed. Smart move. We didn't say anything else. We didn't need to. He got used to. He just didn't have to live with the echo of 5 kids screaming on a cabin porch, asking where their moms went. That echo still hits me sometimes. But now, I let it fade. Because I know the truth. I survived her. And that means I can survive anything. There's a strength that comes from being gutted like that. From being told you're boring, useless, safe, and then watching the person who said it spiral into chaos while you rebuild your life from the floor up. It's a silent kind of strength. The kind you don't post about. The kind that doesn't need applause. The kind that makes you look in the mirror and say, you were enough. She just didn't want enough. She wanted escape. But you? You stayed. You stood your ground. And now, finally, you walk forward without chains. 6 months later, I was sitting at a cafe downtown, just me, my coffee, and a book I'd read half a dozen times but kept coming back to. A quiet Saturday. The kind of day she would have complained about. Too slow, she used to say. Let's do something exciting. But that day, that slowness felt like peace. I looked up from my cup and saw a little girl run past with her dad. She tripped, scraped her knee, started crying. He scooped her up, kissed her forehead, held her close. That used to be the future I imagined for us. The kids. The chaos. The love. Now, I didn't mourn it anymore. I appreciated that it belonged to someone else. The thing about betrayal is, it doesn't just end when they walk out. It lingers. It poisons the air for a while. But eventually, the air clears. The fog lifts. And you stop asking questions like, why did she do it? Or was I not enough? Because the answer is simple. People who lie, who cheat, who run when things get real, they don't want enough. They want a fantasy. And reality doesn't work that way. I didn't need closure from her. I was the closure. Every choice I made since the day she left that email, every step I took after I saw those kids abandoned, every wall I rebuilt after she knocked them down, every time I chose me instead of her chaos, that was the end of her story in my life. The final chapter wasn't her apology, or the baby that wasn't mine, or the signature on the divorce papers. It was me, sitting in that cafe, sipping coffee in silence, and smiling, actually smiling for no one but myself. So if you're reading this, and you've been lied to, broken down, made to feel like you're not worth honesty, remember this. You'll survive. Not all at once. Not in a clean line. But you will. One quiet morning, you'll open your eyes and realize you don't miss her laugh. Or her perfume. Or the way she used to touch your arm when she wanted something. You'll realize you don't miss the version of her you built in your head. Because you become someone better than the man who needed her. And that's the real ending.